What's good, folks? So today we have Miss Amber Kenni on, and we are going to be fun and middle ground, a lot of different topics. So, to the title of today's stream is self love and relationships, where the lines overlap. So, first thing first, how you doing? How your day been so far?
I'm well. My day has been going great. Thank you for asking. How's your day?
It's going pretty smooth. It's about to get even better. Gonna have nice little conversation for the peoples. You feel me? Find some answers. Hopefully, find some solutions.
Hey, listen, we might be able to do that and we might not. You never know. You
You
never know.
never know.
You never know. But hopefully we will. Yeah.
All right. So first thing first, let's tell the people about yourself.
Hey y'all. So I'm Amber, also known as Miss Amber Kinney on all of my social media platforms. I talk about self-love, growth, personal growth, and then everything under the sun about investing in yourself and becoming the type of person that you see yourself as in your head. So yeah, that's what I do.
Okay. How long you been doing content creation?
Oh, I've been doing content creation for years. It's almost been 10 years. In 2022 it'll make 10 years. So I started in 2012 and yeah.
Yeah. So you
Right
got people already coming in and showing you love.
here.
What's good? What's good? All
Hey,
right, all right. So we finna get into it, but why I first found you was you going viral on YouTube, well not on YouTube, but Instagram, you know, Twitter for
was
your
it Twitter?
TikTok videos, and it was self love videos for sure.
Okay.
One was your most viral one was the one about leaving the job that's causing you a lot of stress.
Quit that job. Get on up out of there if it's a toxic work environment. Create an exit plan though.
Create an exit plan.
Don't be jumping, from the grease right into the fire. You want to make sure you have an exit plan.
Guys too. And so a little bit more of your background. You were into education in the past?
Yes, I was a teacher for 5 years. I taught middle school.
So seeing those things, is that what helped push you towards the self love and the self love direction as far as content creation, dealing with the younger kids?
Honestly, I feel like that's just kind of purposed over my life to help people see the best in themselves. And I think God kind of pushed me in the direction of education because of that. But a lot of what I do absolutely is to, help the next generation feel really good about themselves, and, hopefully they don't have to fight some of the same battles that a
Well,
lot of us had to fight.
I pray they don't. I pray
Yeah.
they don't. Even though we give them a tough time, our past generation, they did a good job of handing over the baton. So,
Yeah.
we have a lot of information to go through and figure things out. It's not as rough, but we do have to deal with our shared issues and stuff we're going through right now. We do have a lot to deal with, but our past generation didn't do that much of a bad job because at least we're here in the information age and we're kicking and stuff like this. So I want to get into a little game, so we all can get to know each other a little bit better. You feel me? So the game is called This or That. You already know how we're gonna play it. You got some questions set up for me. I have some for you. So you ready? Want to get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So this or that. Apples or oranges?
Apples,
All right. Heels or sandals?
heels.
Okay. Okay. All right. First date at the beach or a restaurant?
Take me to the beach.
Oh.
That's fun.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. I'll let you fire some off real quick.
Okay. Are you sure? Because mine.
Let's do it.
Okay. I got you. I'm going to try to give you like a. I'm going to try to give you a light one.
Okay.
Respected or liked?
Respected.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a man. I don't care nobody like me. Don't care.
No likability politics over here. Dream job with no pay or be a millionaire with no interest in what you
Hmm.
do?
That's a tough one. I would say a millionaire with no interest in what I do, and then after that, I go and figure things. I can retire at some point. I can
Okay.
retire.
I mean, hey, I get it. I feel that. That financial security is hard to beat.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the right things or doing things right.
Mm. Mm. Damn. All right, all right. I say I'll go ahead and do things right. I want to do
Okay.
things right. Do things
Okay.
right. Yeah, this is a
That's
tough
fair.
one. It's a tough one, but
And that's
shit.
not even the toughest one that I have on there.
Oh God. Okay. Okay. What's your answer to that one right there?
I always think it's difficult because I feel like it's one and the same, low key. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing the right things, you are inherently going to do them right. Like you don't want to do the right things in the wrong way. So
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. All right. So I'll fire a couple more off.
yeah,
PWI or HBCU?
HBCU all day.
HBCU for sure. For sure. Are you down with the swirl or black men for the win?
I love black men. I mind men of other, races, of course. Like men are beautiful in any race, but I love. Woo! It ain't nothing like a black man.
I hear that. I hear that. I'm pretty sure the fellas happy to hear that as well. You feel me? All right. So history or science?
Oof! Both of them are my favorite subjects. I'm gonna go science though.
Science.
Definitely
Okay.
science.
Why science over history?
I I have a real. Do you ever like go to natural science museums?
No.
Stacy, you gotta try it out. You gotta try it out. And I recommend the really big one in in New York City, actually.
Okay.
But I just love. First of all, I love biology, but I also love the sciences of like human behavior, like how humans came to be. I love to learn about animal evolution, those types of things, the biomolecular sciences as well. Like it's just something about it. But I also love history. I'm a history buff, so
Yeah. I feel you. I
you
feel
know,
you. All right. So check me out. All right. When it comes to men,
hmm
rich but cheater or average but faithful?
average and faithful every time.
Every time.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
like. I have an issue with people who have low morals, and they don't they don't behave in a way that is like admirable. Like I don't like people who are not integrous. So I would much rather build with a man who is quote unquote average on the earning level
Yeah.
than be up at night wondering where my man is at just because he can buy me a Chanel bag. That's not
Okay.
how that works.
Did you say integrous?
Yes.
God damn, I need to write that down. I gotta write that down. Okay, okay. All right. I'll let you go. Your turn. You can fire some off at
Okay,
me.
hold
Let's see.
on. Let me see. I forgot which ones I did.
You got them
Would you
deep
rather
ones.
see your child be kind or smart?
Smart.
Why?
Because if too kind, people take advantage of you. Smart, you can be able to figure it on out. You can see through the BS. You know.
Okay,
So I
okay,
prefer to be smart.
okay,
One
okay.
time, one day, my mother, seeing things that her children has been going through,
hmm
she said, "Dang, I wonder if I raised my children to be too nice." And that made me think about that because sometimes you let people take advantage of you and you just always lean on, be nice, be nice, be nice. But sometimes you gotta be smart to be able to like, nah, I can't let this person do this to me because it could be a slippery slope as far as or a trickle effect as far as how it affects so many other things just from you just being too nice to somebody. So definitely smart.
Okay. There's a difference between being nice and kind.
Okay, talk to me.
Being kind people usually have boundaries for themselves. Like they don't allow people to run over them. They know when enough is enough for them. Nice people, however, they don't want people to perceive of them in a certain way. So it's like,
Oh,
oh, I don't want to be mean when I say this, but them being mean is them setting a boundary or them, commanding respect from someone.
yeah.
So like oftentimes you can look at niceness in that way as being manipulative because you want to construct someone's perception of you. Whereas if you're kind, you're often someone who is selfless. Like you'll give as much as you can within your boundaries. So I always like to make that distinction.
Aaron Kenni, people. Aaron Kenni, that was dope right there. That's perspective. Perspective. All right, let's give me some more. Let's see what else you got.
Okay, let me see. I don't have that many more, Stacey.
Okay.
I did that one. I did that one and that one. Would you rather change something from your past or see a preview of your future?
Change something from my past. I'm kind of scared to see the preview of my future. What if it's just black?
Oh
Oh nah, you
no.
know. I'd rather change something from my past and be like, okay, because sometimes you know hindsight of course is 2020.
Hmm.
Fix this and I'll be like, all right, let's go ahead and you know move like that. But I'd rather be excited. I'm that type of person that I don't want no one telling me. I don't want anyone spoiling any movies for me.
Yeah.
I want to be excited about it. I'm so excited about the run, what's in the future. But in the
Hmm.
meantime, I'm gonna set myself up to be in the best position, no matter what, to be able to make a change or be able to deal with whatever obstacles may come my way. But I just don't want to see in the future yet. I just want to be surprised by it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. And then imagine like living in the present when you know your future.
that's torture.
It would be because it's like, man, am I making the right decision today that's going to put me on the path to that specific thing? That it's got to be overwhelming for sure.
Gotta be. Yeah. Okay. So
Kendrick or J.
here,
Cole?
so I love to break down the difference between nice and kind. Yeah. She slid that one right there. She slid that. All right. So all right, couple
Wait, you
more.
didn't answer. Kendrick or
What's
J. Cole?
Kendrick or J. Cole? J. Cole.
Okay, that's fair.
You a North Carolina girl too, so what you going with? You better not be a op.
Hey, look, I'm not an op. It's hard for me to describe. It's hard. Okay. I love
Okay.
Cole. I
All
will listen to a Cole album, the whole Cole album, all the way through before I would listen to a Kendrick album all the way through. But
okay.
I also love Kendrick.
Same here. Same here. I don't know why. I enjoy both equally. You feel me? Whoever. I'm glad they do not drop at the same time, so I can be like fully indulging in either or. All right. So a couple more. R&B or hip hop?
R&B.
R&B. Okay. Okay. Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Um, both of them involve food, so I'm gonna go Christmas.
All right. All right. I can do bad all by myself or that struggle love.
I don't like either one of them.
Gotta pick one.
I don't like either one. My goodness, no. Wait, I gotta
So
choose for
you
real?
gotta choose one.
Neither one. I'll
Damn.
plead the fifth on that. I have no desire to do bad on all by myself. I don't want to do bad, period. And
I
I
feel
also
you.
don't want to struggle. So, baby,
I hear that. I hear that. All right. So, you know, we know that you are into self love and stuff. So,
yeah.
this popped up on a timeline one day.
Hmm.
And it's interesting. I'm having this conversation with you. So, I want to read this to you and see your thoughts on it. So, let's pop it on up over here. Bada bing. So, this right here says, don't let this tainted self love trend have you 50 and alone because you walked away from everything that didn't serve you instead of learning conflict resolution. It worries me that people believe in perfection because of these self love gurus. No
Yeah.
one is perfect, every relationship needs work, and if they're willing to walk away from every single one that has flaws, then people will be alone forever. So, what's your thoughts with seeing that? You need to.
I completely agree with both
Mm,
statements. Um, I think people can confuse what self love actually is. Here's the thing: when you, I saw something on TikTok. This is a great segue into what I saw on TikTok earlier.
talk
So
to me.
there was a video that came up that was like, self love is knowing how much you care about yourself, so that when someone comes into your life, you don't accept just above what you can do for yourself, right? So if you love yourself at 30% and somebody comes in, they're giving you 40%, they're still not giving you what you deserve. But because you only love yourself at 30%, you would accept 40% and think that it's the best thing in the world. So here's the other part of that, right? So
Okay.
when you identify what is important to you, what are your core needs, that's also self love. But people don't realize that everyone is on their own walk. Like, nobody's coming to you perfect. Like, nobody, you're not coming to the relationship perfect.
Yeah,
So
sure.
there's like this it's almost like a God complex that a lot of people have now, where it's
Mm.
like, oh, if you don't do exactly everything that I want, nobody knows how to have conversation anymore. Nobody knows how to do conflict resolution. There's this idea that relationships are supposed to be cookie cutter because they are basing what they see like on the screen. They're basing celebrity relationships, which you don't know the health of those relationships. They're
Mm-hmm.
basing what they see on these TikTok couples, all these trends that go around where he's decorating the whole hotel room and it's, oh, I want that, and he's doing this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, you have absolutely no idea like what they had to go through to get there, or if they are actually even at that space. So I think people have these unrealistic expectations of what self-love is and what it looks like to be in a relationship, because they have internalized the belief that if it is not perfect, then it is not love, and that's not true. That's not how that works.
I hear that. I feel that. That makes a lot of sense. So, you think is it a lot of pressure on you making sure you deliver the right messages when it comes to these things?
It is, and the only reason it's pressure is because I put pressure on myself. um I am just now like arriving at the space where it's like, you know what, I know what the hell I'm talking about. Like, the stuff that I talk about is stuff that I've been through. I've had to grow through to get to where I am. So, I ain't gonna tell you nothing that's gonna hurt you. The only types of content that I put out are things that have benefited me in my growth, things that I've spoken to my friends about within their growth, the things that they talk about in therapy, the things that I talk about in therapy, you
Yeah.
know? So I've moved to the space where it's like, this is less about me and it's more about who I'm serving. So as long as I keep the people who I'm serving in mind, like I don't get scared anymore.
Do you give your chance? Do you give yourself the opportunity to grow as a content creator, knowing that you maybe have stood on this idea in the past? Do you give yourself opportunity to like, I may have said this in the past, but you're not afraid to go ahead and just say this is not how I feel anymore, and
Yeah.
people may look at it as a contradiction.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's one of the main reasons why I reiterate to my followers, I am a human. Please do not idolize me. Like, don't, if you love anything, love my work, but like don't put me on that pedestal, because I'll be the first one to tell you it's another side. It's another side to Miss. This red hair is not just because it's red. You know, understand what I'm saying? Like, I can be feisty, and I let people know that up front, that I have my imperfections and I am still growing through things. So I may have said something in a video like 2 years ago that I look back and I'm like, oh, okay, I see where you were. I see where you were. And so I think it's important to give yourself the opportunity to admit, and that's a part of the self love journey as well. You know what? I said this, and at this time, this is why I have this perception. I've gone and gathered some more information. I got a mentor. I'm on a different journey. I'm understanding things from a spiritual lens. And so I also then will offer that information. And if you can't please everybody. But as long as you, I feel, are authentic to yourself and your own development, people will accept you as you come. It's when you're not authentic that people be like, mm-mm, what's that about? Mm-mm.
I seen you made a video saying talking about adopting other people's trauma.
Yeah. Oof.
And that's a huge issue when it comes to men and women seeing
Yeah.
that what other people may have been through. And you like, I don't want to go through that. And you may not ever cross those roads, but that makes you so ginger when it comes to stepping into some type of situation with somebody, and you deal with them like they may have done you wrong in the past or whatever, just based on somebody else's trauma. Can you dive a little deeper into that idea as far as like not adopting other people's trauma?
Yeah. You can do this in friendships. You can do this in relationships. So let's say like your significant other got some stuff going on with their mama, and then all of a sudden you start like bringing issues to your mama, whereas before you ain't had all them problems with your mama. But what you're experiencing is like the empathy that you feel towards your partner and what they're going through or what they have been through. So that's it's so important for you to assess like, where am I at? Like, are these my feelings or are they coming from somewhere else? Did I feel like this before? What's causing me to feel like this? And I think, you know, if you're not tapping in with yourself enough, you absolutely can adopt that trauma and think that it's something, you know, that's going on with you. But to your point, it sounded like you were saying like when people bring trauma into the relationship from other, is that right? From other relationships and kind of expect for you to do the same things that
Well,
that other person did.
you have that example, and you also have another example as far as saying, women may adopt trauma from their parents based on what they may have experienced with the mother may have experienced with
With the
men in
dad.
her life,
Okay.
or vice versa, men like that as well. Like I think that is something that really plagues us as a society, and that leads to the conversation we was having earlier about interdependence and independence,
Hmm.
because women look at independence as a crutch, a necessary crutch that you have to have because they don't want to make themselves vulnerable to certain men, and these are some things, some situations they may never ever go through or may have never gone through, but just them seeing other people go through these things make them feel like, oh no, I gotta die on this hill of independence because I never want to go through what my mother or grandmother or auntie went through.
Yeah, and it's misguided. It's very misguided. But you know what? A fool learns from their own mistakes and a wise person learns from somebody else's. So I can understand the thought process behind it, but I think that we don't understand that it is very trauma based. Like there are some things that are inside that, you know, maybe we haven't addressed to where we feel like that. If you are not, and this is very interesting. A lot of the time, when women see their mother being treated disrespectfully by their father or whomever this person, this partner may be, when they see that, they can either go one of two ways. They can, you know, become super nurturing, super, you know, caring, kind of codependent a lot of the time, or they go all the way to the left, where it's like, I don't need you, I don't want you, lay the bills on the table, time you leave, don't like, I want that money and that's it. Like trying to have trying to have a certain what is it? Like it's a certain control over themselves. So it's like, I know your game, so you're not gonna play me. But when it's someone who hasn't given you reason to feel like that about them and y'all's relationship, that's where you got to start assessing like, okay, is this actually working for me? Because do I actually want to feel like this, or do I want to invite a partnership into my life to where I can trust my partner fully? Like I know what I saw, and I know that's my programming, I know that that's my paradigm, I know that that's what I saw, but can I actually believe that I deserve to have something else and that it does exist for me?
It's so crazy because that is very true, but it's also women and men that may come from households with mother and father still married, but still go out there based on what they see on Twitter, Instagram, or their friends, families, and stuff like that. They still adapt that trauma too, and still think, nah, I know my mother and father, they have their relationship. I know my dad take care of my mom, she stays at home and stuff like that. But I don't want that. I want my freedom, independence. I don't want a situation like that. There's still women that go and still push away from that idea. So, what in society you think pushes that? Pushes that? What is that?
Pushes what specifically? Like give
That
me.
one is a rebellion from just the, the household working in that way.
It's
You
a
know.
defense mechanism. It's a defense mechanism. If you Now, I kind of want to revisit what you said about having a two-parent household.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we have a two-parent household, it does not necessarily mean that that two-parent household was as functional as, the Huxtables. Bad, maybe a bad reference at this point because, oof, Jesus. But
Yeah,
what
yeah.
that family represented. So it may not have been as functional. They could have experienced like a lack of communication in the home where, oh well, I can see mama is clearly like upset about something, but daddy like doesn't he don't pay attention to her needs emotionally. I never see them hold hands. I never see them kiss. I don't see them go out on date nights. So they can also like experience that level of trauma even in a two-parent household. So I just want to put that out there. But also, just because you come from a two-parent household like that, it doesn't mean that you won't make bad relational choices sometimes. And those choices for both men and women reflect how you feel about yourself. If you ever want to know how somebody feels about themselves, take a look at their partner. And I don't mean physically, like, I don't mean any physical attribute. I mean how this person treats them. What are they doing in the relationship? Are they satisfied in the relationship? Do they come and call you and be like, this nigga did da 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 whatever over and over again? Like every week, you got a conversation going on like that.
Yeah.
If you ever want to know how somebody truly views themselves, take a look at like what's going on in their life.
Damn.
Where do
That's
they
real
feel
talk.
like where do they feel like they match up in life? Do they not feel like they deserve to have something better? Do they not feel like they can maintain it? I know for myself, I like before I started my self-love journey, I chose partners that I thought would tolerate me.
Mm.
Why did I feel like I needed somebody to tolerate me?
Okay.
That's a whole, like, that's when you pull into question your self-esteem, your self-worth, and why do you feel that way? And those things can develop outside of the household. Maybe they're the type of person, they were a four eyes in elementary school through high school. So people kind of looked at them like, that's the nerdy person, like whatever. So they may have had that example at home, but it's like the revenge of the nerds at that point. Like, oh no,
Mm-hmm.
back then you ain't want me. Now I'm hot. I got me some contact lenses and like laser surgery.
That was me.
And
Eighth grade.
so
That was me.
that was you. Facts.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So there are so many different ways that you can experience that trauma that shape your idea of the world and how people interact with it. And I tell people all the time, get the F off of social media, because
Ooh.
people's thoughts on social media do not reflect their true thoughts and intentions like in real life. Like they don't. They just simply do not. And there is like this siloed thinking, especially on Twitter, where it's like if you don't have the same four opinions as everybody else, it's you finna get canceled. First of all, second of all, oh my gosh, you're a pick me. Thirdly, like it's all kinds of stuff going on with that, and it's just like if we would step away from trying to conform to having one opinion, I think that people would feel better. Like address your trauma, address what it is. Like were you flat chested and didn't have a butt in middle school and high school, and is that maybe why you feel like people are not attracted to you now, or the people that you want are not attracted to you now? That's a thing that the body remembers the trauma. And so I really feel like if we took the time to identify the source of why we may not feel the absolute best about ourselves, that's where you really start to identify, like, you know what, I am worthy of what I want, and I'm
Yeah.
worthy just because I exist. But until then, you'll continue to still have the same four basic ass conversations on social media where there's so much more like that your brain is developed to do. Like you can conceive so much more than just them basic ass conversations that people be having.
You know, the 50-50 conversations.
Baby.
That's every month. That's every month. But the thing about it is, you understand whatever system that you want to work in, and just find people that want to work with that. I don't
That's
think it has to
fact.
be that much of a discussion. You just move on
I
from that point. But let's get into it. Let's get a little deeper into it. So I want to bring you into the idea of the mind state of a lot of people that may watch this channel or other channels like mine.
Okay.
So are you familiar with like the manosphere and the red pill content?
Vaguely, I don't really pay attention to that.
All right. So have you seen any of it? Any idea of it?
I'm sure, like I've seen some essence of it, but not like I don't really pay attention to
Okay.
that.
All right. Okay.
But we can talk
So
about it.
all right. So I'm not a red pill content creator, but a lot of people come to my channel through other people's channel that
Mhm.
are similar to mine. But I agree with a lot of the ideology that they may have. Some things may be very very off the wall, but I agree with some things on the baseline. But just the idea of the viewers. So we're talking about self love right now. So
Mhm.
so you the normal viewer is probably a guy that going through something as far as relationship wise, or yeah, I would say probably going through a bad breakup. And no, as men, we don't really have a lot of outlets to express ourselves in. So something you may keep to yourself. Now they go ahead and they may come online or something may pop up on their timeline with a guy that's speaking to them as far as expressing themselves and can relate to them as
Speaking
far
to
as
their
all the
trauma.
trauma they've been through, feeding into their trauma. And then they go into the comment section and it's a full of men that express the same damn idea as them. It's probably been through the same thing as them, but they don't have to say it out loud. They can just express it through like a little forum and stuff like that. So over time, it's like you find people that's like-minded as you and you can freely express yourself. Then you have people that's directly speaking towards your issues, and that's not something that we've seen ever in the past before. Now what happens sometimes is these men never fully deal with them. They never find a solution as far as going to be able to go out into the world from finding that and then being able to go ahead and deal with people once again. Because it should be a healing and understanding moment, but sometimes people go in and reflect in the wrong way. Like say
Mhm.
for instance, I had this situation. I'm not gonna go into the full thing, but I'll show it right here. We have this guy right here. He was talking to a girl, I believe on Tinder or something like that, and he asked her. She asked about going on a date with him, and he said, "What exactly do you think is a date?" She said, "A nice dinner, nothing crazy." And he said, "Sure, you can take me to dinner." And she responds, "Take you to dinner? Isn't it the other way around?" Then he says, Absolutely fucking nothing. Motherfucking hoes want to be 50-50, equal. A man can't tell you shit or control you because you think you're on the same level as him, but then wants to be treated like a lady at the same time. You whores ain't trying to get to know me when you." He just went on a full blown rant, and then I could tell, like, damn, you know, I could understand where he's coming from and where he may get this spiel from. And he skipped a step. He skipped a step completely.
The step that he skipped is therapy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm-mm.
yeah. So therapy, that right there is something that in our black community, something we don't deal with a lot. And even when it comes to just therapy, just as men, we have been conditioned a lot to be more logical. And when it comes to being logical, we can't stop ourselves from being humans. We do have emotions. We do have feelings towards things that we may go
Right.
through. So
Exactly.
with therapy being so shunned in our community and automatically thinking that if you need therapy, you're some type of crazy, we sometimes find different outlets. And if it's not the proper outlets or the right nourishing outlets, we deal with certain trauma in these certain type of ways. We may project that onto other people that they don't even need it. It's not even necessary. This probably could have been, you don't know what this relationship probably possibly could have been, but it just projected out into a way, and it's just like, oh, all right. You could tell this is a hurt person.
And bitter.
So what are your thoughts on the black community in therapy, or men and their emotions in therapy, and how men deal with compressing those emotions?
I like to always point out that the only similarities between men and women are that we are the same species, like we're human. That's where the similarities end. So we are socialized differently as well. Men are socialized to only think about like how much you make, what you do, your level of importance, those types of things. That's what y'all are often conditioned to believe is your value. So the emotionality stuff is going to take a back seat unless you choose to not allow it to take a back seat. And that requires a certain level of accountability that I wish these channels would talk about more. It's giving very much like looking at men in a one-dimensional way, but y'all are talking about how you feel about things. And the reason that you might have that warped sense of, that warped sense of reality where everybody is out to get you. That's kind of what I got from that. Like, nah, y'all just out to get me. Like, nah, I ain't finna let nobody take advantage of me. Like, and so like instead of being able to identify that as trauma, you may like he may have been the type of person who experienced a few women who took advantage of him. But he because y'all are not taught to identify like maybe there's something in me that makes me feel like I don't deserve the type of woman that is going to come in and nurture me and love me for who I am and not try to use me. It always comes back to self, but we don't teach men to identify self enough. We teach men to react and be reactive to things, to protect yourself, when in actuality in a good healthy relationship you wouldn't have to protect yourself from nothing. So you got to identify like why do I feel like I have to, why do I feel like the world is against me, why do I feel like all women are out to get me? Like, where did you see that? He probably saw that somewhere. And so, I always encourage, I'm an equal opportunist with healing and therapy. And I do understand what you're saying when you say that, in the Black community, which I think is getting better. I think
Yeah.
our generation specifically, we're definitely like the breaking generational curses generation. Like that started with us. We was like, nah, this is enough.
That's
So,
for sure.
on social media, you may see like depictions of that, but in my waking life, and maybe this is because I don't attract those types of partners, like I don't attract them type of men. But and there are different types of men. Like people don't like to assess that either, but I digress. That's another conversation. So, where it is important for you to be able to identify, like, yes, in the Black community we do have that trauma surrounding, and there's a whole history of why Black people don't want to go seek help when things are going left, when they're not feeling good inside their bodies, inside their head. There's a whole history that we have to consider when we are trying to dismantle systems like that. And there are some people who are still struggling with, their families thinking that they're crazy. But if you are listening to this right now, I encourage you to choose different for yourself. You do not have to create the same paradigms in your house. You don't have to live life like that, friend. You do not, you can choose different. If all you saw was abusive relationships growing up, you don't have to let that permeate your system. You can go talk to somebody about that, and damn what other people say, let them continue to stew in the space that they're in, and you elevate. Snoop Dogg talks about that. When you start to elevate, like you start to get to a place where you're healing, you're doing purposeful work, you're moving through life in a certain way, you will elevate naturally, and you're going to leave some people behind. You got two options. You can either go back to the consciousness that you were at, or you can choose to allow people to meet you where you at. Okay? So I said all that to say, friend, if you feel like you're going through something and you're just attacking everybody, you don't feel really comfortable, like you feel like you got to be on guard 24/7, I recommend that you go seek some help and let some of that go, King. Like, let it go. Let it go. It's harming you. That's why y'all come up, y'all be having heart attacks, stress, strokes, all that kind of shit. Cause like the body remembers the trauma. It's remembering what you went through. It's remembering seeing these people treated this way. especially you come from the hood, you see a whole lot of stuff going on in the hood. Like, you are traumatized, my love. And so that trauma is living in your body. And if you don't get it out, it's going to destroy you.
All right. So real quick, brief stop. We know November 16th, we got the podcast dropping, right?
Hey, yes, that's right.
So tell the people about the podcast so they can know where to find you after this conversation.
Absolutely. So my podcast is called Healed. On Instagram and TikTok, it is the Heal with the T podcast. And it is a space to celebrate Black women for our whole selves, because there's not a lot of spaces where we get to celebrate our entire selves. So, yeah, we'll be talking about, you mentioned interdependence earlier, and that's actually the first episode that will be dropping. Codependency versus interdependence. Thank you so much, Stacey. So,
Welcome. Oh,
that
sorry.
is going to, yes, that's the page right there, and we are going to be dropping that on the 16th, and I'm very excited. I've been able to have some really cool conversations with some really cool women, and we talk about lots of different elements of healing. Like, it's not just going to therapy. It's also tapping into your femininity. It's also going after opportunity. It's also having a deep belief in yourself, and increasing your self-esteem, among other things. So that's what we're talking about on the Healed podcast. And I
Yes,
would,
yes,
I
yes.
would love to have
Hey,
you.
we're gonna do it. We're gonna do that. We're gonna talk about it. All right. So check me out. So now you have some men that they have dealt with their trauma. They're in a good space now. They're in a
Yeah,
good space,
yeah.
and now they're ready to go and
Hmm.
try to build a legacy so they can go out there and
Yes.
find them a good woman, find them a nice, good, wholesome young woman. But then you have guys that make statements like this. Real spill, it's hard being a woman's first good man.
That's true.
Now, taking him at face value and that he is a good guy. Because, some men, they think they're a good guy. They're not actually,
That's
they
true.
mean. But just taking him at his word at face value.
Mhm.
You had a lot to say about this. What do you want to continue those thoughts on about this statement right here?
I think that it requires a certain level of patience that not every man has. Um, Imagine being in a relationship with someone who you really care about, and all they've experienced is trauma in relationships,
Man,
and they project that onto you because they haven't taken the time to turn the mirror on themselves. I think we have one-sided conversations a lot. Um and I was saying, I don't know if you're gonna roll the clip, but I was saying in that video that was posted as a result of that tweet, that amazing men, and I mean amazing men. These are top tier legacy men, as you would say. These men often will come in contact with women who haven't identified, maybe I've got some abandonment wounds from my previous relationships, or previous people in my life in any capacity. Maybe I haven't like, what is an attachment style? People don't be knowing their attachment styles. People don't be knowing, like, how they like to receive love, how they like to give love. So, I could imagine, just trying to put myself in his shoes. I can imagine how that would be extremely difficult, especially if you care a lot for someone and you want to be patient because you want it to work.
understand that. So there are four attachment styles.
I guess.
I
I
don't
know
know.
of three. What are
I don't know. I don't know my attachment
Oh
style.
yeah, no. There's actually more than four, real honestly, if you want to be technical, but some of the major ones are anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, anxious avoidant attachment, fearful attachment. Yeah, there you go. Secure attachment is what you're looking for, and then that disorganized one is sometimes associated with with personality disorders, cluster B personality disorder. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So now you have done some work on yourself. And now you said that off camera we talked about you making sure that you are more feminine and getting rid of your masculine ways in the past. Let's talk a little bit more about that because that's a common conversation between black men about black women and them dealing with what they would say more masculine women. And we understand, we get it. We've heard the stories in the past. We know what we all been through. We're not gonna sit here and lie. Like our parents haven't had to go through, a lot of single parent households led by women having to put them in that masculine energy just to protect their kids and provide due to a lot of different trauma that the black community have experienced. But now we're not that deep into the hole as we were before. We're trying to grow and dig ourselves out of it, so we have to do correction.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the correction that you've done when it comes to that.
Um, I also see with feminine energy, what I learned is you have to, like, your feminine energy should be your default. And understanding when you get into your masculine, you may you may be around somebody who is not, allowing you to rest in that feminine space. So that's a level of accountability that you have to take as well. Like, hmm, why is it that I am out of place? Like, I feel out of order, I'm drained, I'm tired, I'm always arguing, I'm doing all this when I'm with you.
Hmm.
And so that kind of stuff can, like, shift someone out of their femininity, or feeling like they are resting in their femininity. But things that I had to do, I had to take accountability for the people that I chose to be around, and, like, understanding why I was even choosing to be around those people in the first place. But also being in a position to receive. Like, I personally was the type of person that would, like, carry all 12 bags of groceries up the stairs, get the door, boom, I got it all. Like, that was me. And so I'm good on that. I have pretty nails, like, and I want to keep them pretty, and I don't want to do that. Like, I would prefer to lift in the gym, like, so there's that. But even in that space, it's like I can ask somebody for help. Like, do you mind grabbing this door for me so I can get through, instead of trying to, like, struggle. And so a lot of femininity is learning how to sit back and receive, and trust that you have chosen a partner, or trust that you are, sitting in your feminine enough to understand, like, it's not about what you can do, it's just who you are. It is who you are as a person, as a woman. Who are you? And I
And
think that's go ahead.
oh no, so I wanted to ask, how can you weaponize your femininity to be powerful and useful for a man as well?
That's what April Mason calls an asset woman, and of course she's not weaponizing it necessarily, but an asset woman comes into your life, and she helps you elevate what you already got going on. Like, she's the type that is fully trusting in your masculine energy. She's the type that is a soft landing place for you. And people like Tony Gaskins, he said that he didn't elevate to the space that he was at yet until he learned how to love his wife. So, there are various areas that we could talk about in terms of, like, an asset woman and a legacy man, which is that's the best combination. You could also refer to them as, like, a generous man and a selfless woman. So, you know
A generous man and a selfless woman.
that's the best
Cause
combination.
yeah, cause sometimes what some ladies do, especially some ladies that come into these spaces and peep in,
Hmm.
they use like a cheat code for a test. They see what men want some things and they try to use it as, okay, this is the way I'm gonna manipulate men to do these things for me, and then they never serve in any type of way.
So
So
that's pretending. That's not being in your feminine energy, like, at all.
okay,
Femininity is not manipulative. Like, it
okay,
just is what it is. Now, if they're coming in with the objective to, like, it's kind of like, I don't know, like, you coming in trying to figure out, like, how to get what you can get from someone. That's not okay for anybody to do.
any chick that say daddy too much, zaddy too much, oh yeah, you gotta watch out for
Is
those.
that what it is?
It's them chick. They try to manipulate you with all the sexual, feminine, and stuff like that. There are coaches that's out there trying to help girls get them some sugar daddies and stuff like that. And
See, that
they
ain't what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah,
shout
okay.
out to everybody who decides that that's what they want to do. That ain't shit I'm on. No, like the femininity that I'm talking about is very much like being instead of doing. Being an asset to myself, like looking around my life and is this the type of life that I would want to bring someone into? Can I provide that softness for him? Can I, I love to bake. I don't mind cooking and cleaning. People might get upset with me for that. I don't mind that because I have to eat anyway. So if you at my place, like, babe, are you hungry? Like, I'm about to cook something. There, some of us are like, I ain't cooking for no man. Like, I ain't doing it. Then, classifying that as wifely duties. But then you think about it, it's like, okay, you want him to pay your bills, and that's like a husband thing. Like, you want that, but you also have to be willing to give something too. And I think when people deal with their trauma, the trauma surrounding like giving to the wrong people, giving yourself to the wrong people and being taken advantage of by the wrong people, they will stop with this idea of like punishing everyone else because of what that person did. And that's male and female. That's
Yeah,
everybody be
I hear
doing
that.
that.
I want to read this real quick. So homie David, he say, I think women should only tap into their masculinity when caring for their men. Eat this for your health, damn it. Take this medicine to get better, damn it. Come work out with me to live longer, damn it.
I agree. But see, even that's your feminine, because your feminine is nurturing. Like, yeah, come on, come do this walk with me. You starting to have like them PVCs and shit. I don't like that. You're not gonna leave me with these kids. Come on now. Let's get on up.
I
Drink
hear
me some
that.
water.
All right, so we're talking. You say your podcast first episode is gonna be talking about interdependence, and independence, codependence, all that different type of stuff like that. So
Yeah.
right here, I want to read this. I did a video about this recently. This statement that this lady made right here. She says, so many women won't admit that they are miserable in their independence. I wish we could just be honest and say what it really is. A lot of women are exhausted, but they keep pursuing this lifestyle that society pushes on us, not feeling like they have another choice. But you do.
That's
But you
interesting.
do. So, what's your thoughts about that?
I think that's an interesting perspective. A lot of us complain about not attracting good men, or like there's not that many good men out there, and there are plenty. There like everywhere you turn around is a good man. I promise you that. But you got to change your appetite, my love. Like, you got to change your appetite for men. If your appetite has been men who like reject you emotionally, then you got to change your appetite. You got to not want that type of man anymore.
Yeah.
You got to be able to identify those signs early. And so, just to speak to the point of like being miserable, I hope that she's not miserable in her singleness, because like I was saying, you gotta make sure that you have a life that you want to invite someone into. um and then on the interdependence, because sometimes that independence, like that right there, that is hard. That is hard because we didn't come to this world to be alone. Like, people were created for companionship, for partnership. And so when you force yourself, again, that trauma keeps coming up, when you force yourself into independence because you feel like you can only depend on yourself, that's where that exhaustion might kick in. But I just feel like becoming more interdependent, learning when you need help, even if you in the grocery store, if you in Walmart and you on the water aisle, me, that water is heavy. Like, I'm gonna go ask, like, hey, can you help me put this in the cart? That's interdependence. It doesn't mean that you're dependent on this man to do every single thing for you, but you can incorporate interdependence in your life even if you are single.
Okay. I had that. You're talking about decision making as far as the type of man that you choose,
Mhm.
and that makes me think about the Sierra's prayer mumbo jumbo with Summer Walker and everything, or all the women out there that's like that. And I don't think people, I think people are too, they're romanticizing Sierra's prayer too much, but not really understanding and that it's much more of Sierra's decision and not her prayer. Her decision was the type of guy that she chose to date that was more in line with the results that she wanted, you know? And even though, everyone can't compare themselves to Sierra to being that, they don't have the option that she has. But even though with that being said, she still was able to come in strip a lot of conditioning that society puts on our young women as far as the type of man they want to go after, the people they say Pookie and Ray Ray's on YouTube and stuff, but those type of hood gangster type of dudes, but being able to say, all right, I'm gonna get the square, rock with him. And this right here has men have seen this over and over and over again. We've seen the women that we wanted in our past growing up go and choose the Pookie and Ray Rays or the hood dudes, the rougher guys that don't make that best decision for us the long run, and they've gone and they've been dogged out by these men, and then finally they want to come back and go and try to get at the guys that have made the much more conservative decisions in life and the safe decisions, probably the more husband type thinking guys, and sometimes it may be too late.
Hmm.
So that right there builds up a lot of resentment in men's eyes when it comes to that, because they don't want to just be used as like a last resort. You feel me? A
I
lot of men
think
feel like that.
I think y'all should take a look at that mindset though,
Talk to me.
because maybe she learned her worth and her palate changed.
Mm.
Maybe she finally like started to understand her core needs. You know what I'm saying? Like she realized, okay, like life is not all about like fun, excitement, entertainment. Like I need some stability. I need to, I need to be supported. I need emotional availability. You know what I'm saying? Those things are core needs. And although I can understand that, I feel like that's even trauma on y'all's end too. Like a lot of it breaks down to how you feel about yourselves. So, I personally like I attract brilliant men. Brilliant. And when I didn't understand my value, I didn't feel like I deserved these brilliant men that I was attracting, from aerospace engineers to like brilliant men. And so when I understood that that was part of my value, like the reason I'm attracting brilliant men is because I have something in me that is also brilliant. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's what happens when you start to change your palette. So if that's the type of woman you want, don't allow resentment to stand in the way of her finally realizing her worth and value, and understanding that she don't need to pass up on this type. This is a good man and I couldn't see it before because I couldn't see myself. So a lot of this stuff is about perspective, and I do want to talk specifically to Sierra's prayer because I just filmed a video about that where
Talk
I
to
was
me.
like, y'all got Sierra, y'all know, you know how I start my videos. Hey baby, you got Sierra's prayer memorized, don't you? Oh, don't scroll. Don't scroll. Come on back. Come on back. Because the thing is, Sierra in that prayer, I think that a lot of people skip over the part where it's like, baby, Sierra had to do that work on herself. That was self work. And so she's now asking God for what she needs based on the work she's done for herself. That was an affirmation. I know that I am a woman of value now.
Exactly.
I know, well, she's always been a woman of value, but she couldn't see it. I know that I am standing firm in who I am, and I am an asset to any man that I choose. And thus, God, I'm asking you to present me with the man that you have for me. That's what that is. So you gotta center the thing that I want for people to understand the most. And Stacey, you about to make me start doing relationship content. Look,
Do it.
the
Do it.
thing that I want people to understand the most is that The common denominator in all your relationships is you. Baby, it's you. So if you are bringing the same version of yourself to each relationship that you get in and you're having similar results in each relationship, there's some stuff you got to heal. Like there's some stuff going on inside of you where you are not, you are not picking up on your core needs. You maybe don't feel like you deserve that type of person. You maybe feel like it's very, that scarcity mindset kicks in. Oh, it's not enough good women out here. It's not enough good. It's abundance. Okay. It's there's, you have to believe that you can have whatever it is that your heart desires. And you also have to do the work to position yourself to be there. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, you're not ready.
I feel that. I feel that. All right, so let's read some of these things what they're saying right here. So, her pair bonding is ruined by that time. It wasn't but a few weeks ago that Sierra was twerking out in public. What has changed? What do you
What's
think
wrong
about
with her twerk? Her husband was in that video. He enjoyed that. I'm about to be twerking with my husband, so baby, I don't know.
Oh man. What I would say that if anybody, I wouldn't even say just men or women. Pack light. I had a video 2 weeks ago about bag lady. So as you're moving and you're going through things with people, just make sure you're packing light so you're not bringing in too much things to overcome for your new partner. Not too much issues to overcome when it comes to trauma or even physical, tangible things that may be like kids, or a record. Because some situations you lose as men, we know how we get sometimes when someone may have disrespected you to a certain point that you may just lose it, and that could give you a fucking record, and that's something that you got to carry on with you from time to time to time, and you don't need to go through those things. So always make sure you're packing light from situation to situation, and you invest into something that's worth it, and then you can explain it. You could, if that doesn't work out, if that situation doesn't work out, you could at least go on and tell somebody, this is what I've been through. This is why I had this child. It was in the marriage. The marriage didn't work out for whatever reason. But that's more understandable than crazy baby mama from the hood who tricked me into this baby and now I'm stuck. Like, nah, we're not moving like that. So make sure you always pack light moving from situation to situation so you don't build that much resentment in situations like that when you're dealing with towards new people. So what's up?
That's an interesting question.
So, why are men like seeing Russell Wilson portrayed as good men? Is that a way to brainwash and guilt trap young men to take care of single mothers and their kids? Okay, let's talk about it.
Um, if you're not the type of person that is willing to take on, a woman and her kids, then that's you're just not that type of person to do that. But there are plenty of men who don't mind taking on the woman and her babies because they know he understands that it's a full package. Um, and that's I just feel like that's a preference thing. If you don't prefer that, then you don't prefer that. But there's nothing. I don't think that it's a guilt trip for young men to take care of single mothers and their kids. Um, I think that's a very like obtuse way of looking at that.
Yeah. And it's different, it's different. You gotta look at the situation that Sierra's in. She's not, it's not an issue as far as being having to exhaust resources on someone else's kid that can't do it on their own. Like Sierra is okay financially. That Russell Wilson isn't coming to a situation that he has a financial burden of having to save Sierra from a situation. A lot of other situations, men are thinking that they have to save women with them and their children after being left high and dry by their baby fathers. It's not that particular situation, and there are a lot of women out here that can take care of themselves when it comes to them and their children, and they probably just want a man, and this is the situation that they've in because that's just their circumstances. So not all situations are the same. I can understand when it comes to the reservation that it can be, far as like going to deal with someone that has children. It is a difficult situation if it's not taken seriously, you know. So I can understand that, and then like she said, it's preference. It's everybody preference. You know, everybody doesn't have to walk the same light, but you know there are women that just some dudes just fumbled, and it's vice versa. There's some good guys out there that is in situations they made bad decisions and they have some children, and some chicks fumbled them. It is what it is. So everything is case by case circumstances, and you know you could do whatever you can in your life to make sure it's as easy as for you as it is for you to be to get to the end of the road. That's all it is. Do whatever you can on you. They say this song I grew up. It was a gospel song. He can never put more on me than I could bear. You know, and I think we all walk in the image of Christ, so God is in you as well. Don't put too much on yourself that you can't bear. It also goes with dating someone who has a checkered history as far as being promiscuous and stuff like that. If you can't take that, do not date them, because you're always going to be mentally tormented by what they may possibly be doing when they're not with you, or whether or not. Just don't date them. Some men may be able to do that, but if you can't do it, don't do it. If you dating a lady who may have been bisexual, if you can't mentally take that, don't do it, because you may have issues as far as dealing with that. If you can't be comfortable with that, don't do it. But it's other men that may be able to handle that situation. So everything is, as you're taking in content, you can't take everything as law, because everybody is different. You know, some things you have some core similarities, but everyone has a little bit more of that different that. You know, it's probably like 8 core archetypes or something like that as far as people in mind states. But then that's when things change, and you got to just rock out like that. So, what's your thoughts on that situation?
On which part? Oh,
Let's get into these right here.
okay.
Some more. So she said, but let's call it what it is. Women see men as less than for not wanting to take on a package deal. Okay, we getting into it. That is that is that can be manipulation. That's manipulation. For sure, for sure. Because if a man is like, you know, they don't want to deal with this situation, you can't guilt trip them in that way as far as like you're not a good man if you don't want to do that. That's manipulation.
It's just
It's
not
what
the person for you.
exactly. That's it. As simple as that. It's men that are out here that are willing. So just move on to those guys. What's your thoughts on that before we move
So,
on?
on which part?
This
No,
part
I
right
agree.
here.
I agree. Like, I feel like if you have to sell yourself on someone, you're gonna have to sell them on why they need to keep you. So like, please don't. Yeah, no. I don't think. I think it's manipulative for people to say that someone is less than for not wanting to take on what they offer, as opposed to finding someone who is looking for what you have.
I feel that. All right, so this one definitely for you. Self love can be seen as narcissistic.
If someone is viewing you loving yourself as narcissistic, I automatically assume that they haven't reached a level within their self love journey to identify what self love truly is. So, I mean, it's a matter of perspective. I don't think it's narcissistic to love yourself. And a lot of the time, narcissistic people don't love themselves at all. So it's kind of like contradictory.
I said something like probably like a month or two ago. I think the term narcissist is overused nowadays.
You think
I
so?
think I think people throw it on every single thing. That if someone has like their core standards and values and they don't budge, I think people are more stubborn than narcissists.
Hmm. There's a big difference.
Yeah,
Big difference.
but
Yeah.
but I think if some people may think someone that may have been controlling. I think it's just so much. The lines are blurred so much. I don't think every single person that you don't get along with and the relationship didn't work out is a narcissist. That person may have been selfish. They may have been selfish, but if you really get into the relationship, it may be some times where you may have been selfish in that. So it's so hard to just throw that on everything. So anytime I hear that, I cringe. Anytime someone says someone is toxic, I cringe, because it has to be more to the story. And everyone, is the protagonist in the story and is the antagonist, and vice versa. So that's why I think when it comes to that, let's get through some more. Taking care of other people's kids is hard for men and women. This is true. This is true. All right. So she said it right here. So this person says y'all pick and choose what narcissistic looks like, and it gets very confusing to be honest. That's something what I was thinking as far as that.
Hmm.
What's your thoughts as far as that?
I think narcissistic personality disorder is a clinically diagnosed thing. And I think that people don't understand what narcissistic facing traits look like, because that person may not be a full blown like cluster B narcissist, but you can absolutely have narcissistic traits.
Okay.
Um, and that's, I mean, that just, it is what it is. It ain't what it ain't.
I understand. I
Oh, and
understand.
I recommend, if you're actually interested in learning what narcissism is and how it actually presents, because I feel like there's a lot of undiagnosed narcissism, and people go through these relationships mistreating people and discarding people, and they like, a lot of people think it's normal. That's not normal behavior. I feel like a lot of us have dealt with narcissistic partners and didn't realize that that's what's going on. And then you look at how many narcissistic or people who are diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, it's 1%. Someone who has narcissism is never going to think that they are a narcissist ever, and thus they don't go to therapy, they don't go to psychotherapy to get help. They out here running rampant in people's relationships, like, so I guess you can say that people who are less informed about narcissism pick and choose things that are self-serving, I guess, when they don't want to take accountability for how they showed up in a relationship. But no, like, it's a lot of narcissistic people out here, and I think that now that the conversation is being had, people should go to credible sources to learn about what that actually is.
I hear that. I hear that. All right. So this person right here, what's up, Naomi? Naomi. So she says so many new terms are being made to deflect accountability. I never heard the words toxic and gaslight overused so much in the last 2 years. All right. So what about you have any thoughts on this right here?
I do think people deflect accountability, but toxic is toxic, and being gaslit is being gaslit.
Yeah,
Because
that.
I feel like even this comment right here is gaslighting.
Which one?
This one right here that we're reading, so many new terms are being made up. These are not new terms. There are just more conversations being had around them, and there has to be accountability on both ends, like accountability with the person that is saying that they are being gaslit and the gaslighter. So, maybe there is a deflection and accountability, and maybe people are just speaking up because they don't want people to go through the same things that they've been going through in relationships.
Okay. All right, so this back on Russell Wilson. I get that, but why is he celebrating though? Ice Cube has been married for a minute, no cheating scandal or anything, but he's never got celebrated as a good man. Single moms say, "I just want a good man." That's I feel that. I understand that. You know what? A lot of time we overlook the right thing, the correct things because it's kind of boring. So we never even mention it. Like let's look at your skin. You don't nothing sticks out on your skin until you see a bump, you see a blemish, because that's the one thing that's not right. So what's wrong with this issue? Just as humans, we're trained to just go and look for the trauma or issues or problems, just to stay safe. And a lot of times, the good
Mhm.
things just never addressed because just running as things should be ran. So sometimes people like Ice Cube are just never thought about. It's like I remember this actress name I think something it's she's married to a football player named Robbie Pete. Something Pete. She's an actress from an old school. I don't know, but this lady, she's been Holly Robinson Pete. She's been married for years to her husband, and you never hear nothing about them. They just go on about their life, raise their children. They praise each other on their social media stuff. You don't hear anything about it. They don't go any TV shows, nothing, just smooth selling. And it's kind of boring to people that wants exciting things, and you never hear about him being a good man. You just don't hear about it. So
Ice Cube
sometimes,
is celebrated for being a good man, though.
huh?
He's been married to the same woman for years. People do celebrate Ice Cube for that.
Oh, they do.
Absolutely.
They do.
Especially in this age where like rappers are not doing that. He's absolutely celebrated for that. So I don't know. Maybe broaden your scope there, friends, to see.
Maybe I think LeBron sometimes gets celebrated for his relationship with his lady.
He does.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So some other conversation. We got like four conversations going on at one
Okay.
time. So because usually in relationships it's always the men that are villains and women are the victims. So
Hmm.
we're talking about the what's the name? They about the narcissist stuff. That's true. Women always get the benefit of the doubt. This is true. This is true. We speak about it all the time, but that's why men like us, we're gonna sit here and be vocal as possible. Let it be known that we all got work to do and express ourselves. So I think we are starting now to be gaslit men. I think we're being gaslit in these spaces as we speak, express ourselves. We're being told who hurt you and all this different type of shit. And I always tell females or women when they ask us who hurt you, I'm like, it probably was your homegirl or something, somebody that you deal with that you let go unchecked. But we all got to have these conversations to let it be known that these things are happening. We are going through issues and we do have some things that we gotta figure out. Nella C says, I think we didn't know what toxic and gaslit was, so now that we know what it is, we call it out. It's a part of accountability. I just got here. Hey guys, what's good, Nella? But yeah. So as these old terms are being repurposed for these new conversations, some I guess they're popping up into our ears more than usual. So
Yeah.
we're hearing about them, discussing them a lot more.
We have more access to information than we ever have right now in this current moment, especially with apps like TikTok. Every other video can be a therapist talking about these things. Every other video is a coach talking about these things and people talking about their experiences. So, yeah, like the access to information is abundant. And so you'll naturally be bombarded with more of it.
All right, so everything is gaslit not lighting nowadays. Ever since the manosphere has prospered, yeah, that's what I was just thinking. So they said Denzel is celebrated for his marriage. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. You feel me? Um, what else we got on the thing? So all right. So it's one of the last things I want to talk about because I
Okay.
know we're getting to the point. I didn't think we had time for this, but here we go. So we talk about self love, and right now we are in an epidemic, not just a pandemic. We're also in an epidemic. Women and their bodies,
Mhm.
they're wanting to alter their bodies so much. We are in a BBL epidemic. Do you have any thoughts on that, or do you care? Should it be addressed, or should women just do what they want to? And should men have any say so when it comes to this? What do you think?
I think that if we as a collective celebrated women for the way that we look, just how we look naturally, then maybe there wouldn't be so many of us who feel like we have to go do things to alter, how we look. Um, that's very much a societal thing. I personally feel like do what you want with your body. It's your body. If you choose to do that, then you choose to do that. But if you choose not to do that, you should also be celebrated for exactly how you look, for your belly rolls, for your if you don't have like because an hourglass figure is what is celebrated. Like this is what men talk about wanting. This is what y'all look at. Like you go to OnlyFans, this is the type of girls you looking at. You on Twitter, this is the type of women you're looking at. They have this shape. These are the women that have been praised. So like naturally women that go and do those things, they want that. They want to feel like that. They want to be admired in that way. And I don't think anybody can condemn them for, trying to feel better, for trying to do something that makes them feel better. But I hope for the day where we can celebrate women exactly how they are, and not, you know, and not and not posture any one body type or any one feature over another. And I think that's why we have what we have going on right now.
Okay. So it's growing louder and louder. It's swelling when it comes to the thoughts that men are getting tired with the idea that we want these things, and it's kind of crazy. It's like we're in the steroid area of bodies. I don't know if you're familiar with baseball, but in like the late '90s, we had Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa. Everybody was shooting roids just so they could slap the home runs at the park, and it was kind of getting crazy. You feel me? It was entertaining, but after a while, it's like, all right, these dudes are tripping. Got Barry Bonds and stuff like that. But we're in the steroid area right now, so when it comes down to it, a lot of men are starting to say, listen, we it's getting out of hand. We are okay if you guys want to go back to the normal bodies. Actually, we prefer the normal bodies. How can men be able to, as a group, say that
Talk
without being called? Talk about it.
about
Say
your
that.
natural look, talk about how much you love women. Y'all got to come from a place of love instead of a place of judgment. Like, look at these comments. It's a place of judgment instead of like, girl, I love it when your like belly fall over the we like this and
Go, come on now.
hearts and
Come on now.
like y'all. That's what y'all have to start saying, and that's what I mean when I say you have to accept women as they naturally come,
Okay.
and not try to conform or make them conform or change. If you prefer the type of woman who's in the gym and she's fit, that's who you need to go after. You don't need to go after a woman whom you feel like you have to alter. But I do believe that if men, specifically black men, came out and started talking about how much you appreciate black women for exactly how they are, it may take it ain't going like this BBL epidemic, as you call it, didn't happen overnight. This is years and years and years of this adding up. So yeah, I just feel like lead with love.
Lead with love. That's the way we could do it. I hope it works. I hope it works, cause man, I hope it works. With
Y'all
so
are
all
the
right,
leaders of the community. So
we are.
if you lead in a way that is loving and it celebrates not only yourselves, like it can't be self-serving. So you lead in a way that is not self-serving. You lead in a way that celebrates the community as a whole. I think you will definitely start seeing a shift. But as long as we have these narratives that kind of instill division, it's going to continue to divide. And if you want there to be a coming together, then why don't you lead the movement of a coming together?
I understand. I understand.
And
All
there are
right.
lots of black men who are hopping on that wave, so I see it moving in a different direction.
Okay. So I definitely want to do my best because I'm about to start on my weight loss shit. Been trying to figure out my damn work schedule and get it together because I want to lead with far as by example when it comes to that. But I definitely think us as a community, far as the weight has been crazy. So a lot of people are reacting to when it comes to your what you're saying as far as the roles and stuff like that. You don't have to be natural to be fat and everything like that. So a lot of people are reacting to that, and I think us as a whole, far as the way we eat, is crazy, and as far as what we accept, is crazy. And I think we look at these surgeries as what I would say as a cop out or a quick escape plan. Whenever we got that money, we can go ahead and pay for these surgeries and stuff like that. But there's a lot of things at the core that we got to fix as far as our diets and stuff like that.
I
And even when it comes to the way we celebrate and drink, man, I think we that the excessive drinking as well. I do it myself too damn much, and that's probably where most of my weight comes from is excessive drinking. That leads to extra fat and stuff like that. Even so much things that we do as a course. So I've done tried a million different type of ways to start the conversation as far as like men do not want all the women out here to get these cartoonish bodies. We don't think that's it's healthy. First of all, for the long run, because some women are could pass away down the future, and we are appreciative of natural bodies. You know, we appreciative of that. We like the tiger stripes on the booty. I like the jiggly booties and all the type of stuff like that. I like those things, and so we've been trying so hard, but a lot of times it's being ignored. But I guess we gotta just keep being unapologetically keeping it real when it comes to that, because I
I
don't
just feel
think it's
like
necessary.
focus on that then. Focus on who you like.
And who
Like,
you like.
instead of trying to change the people who are deciding to do the other stuff. Because I have a natural body. All my friends have natural bodies. Like, all the women that I know have natural bodies. So there are plenty of us out here that are not altering our bodies and don't feel the need to do so. So I say continue to celebrate the women who are doing that.
Okay. All right. So they're talking about shame. So Nutter says we need a little dose of shame. Artists accept everything is not working. It gives people an excuse to be lazy. What are your thoughts on shame?
Um, how did you feel when your parents shamed you for being who you were?
Being who I was.
Did
Me
that make you feel
personally,
good?
it depends. It depends. I don't know. Cause I maybe I could only be remember being shamed for growing up and possibly being things like far as late or messy and things like that, and those things were possibly played into like my bad habits that I was shamed for, and that gave me correction growing up, and things that I still try to date back to like, all right, this is not
Okay.
right, this is not good. So that may be as far as like my core when it comes to shame. I can't think about as far as like who I was.
Hmm.
I can't think of. I'm trying to, but I can't think about that. What about you?
I don't like for people to shame me for who I am personally. Like, that doesn't feel good to me. So imagine being in a larger body and receiving shame because you're in a larger body. That's ridiculous. Like, no. Now, shame in terms of like character flaws, maybe. You like, why are you a liar? That shame. Why you steal? Shame. Like, those things for sure. But to have the idea that you even like have the right to shame someone, because if you are willing to shame, you also have to be willing to receive it as well. Don't get sensitive when somebody comes at you for your hairstyle, or like the way you choose to wear your makeup, or the acne that you got on your face. Like, if that's the spirit that you're coming with things, then you got to be willing to take it as well.
Yeah, that. Yeah, so I definitely agree with that. I guess that played into me as well, cause as growing up, cause I was more so shamed for my, like my homie says right here, shame in the actions and behavior. I was more so shamed by my parents by actions and behavior, not too much of who I was. I would say sometimes as far as like I would get coaching as far as my personality take. My big brother would coach me as far as the ways to deal with certain things, as far as my temperament. That may be reflection of who I am as far as my temperament, as far as reacting to certain things. So my big brother would be like, nah, don't you need to be more aggressive in this type of way. If someone come at you like that, even though, and I may be more of a relaxed personality. So, and sometimes if you're not, as young men, we can be shamed in that regards. Like, nah, you don't need to be a pussy. You need to be stand up for yourself, or you was pussy for doing some things like that. And you may be like, man, I just want to just relax. Like, it's not that deep for me.
Mhm.
So in that ways, growing up, I could see shaming in that way, and that can lead to be, cause issues in the
Mhm.
future. But when it comes to real deal stuff that's really necessary, I think as far as the decisions that people make, you should be shamed for those things. You should be adjust a little bit, if only if it's could be fixed. If it could be fixed, we shouldn't be shaming people for, like you said, being in a bigger body, as far as like being super tall, or shame people for being super short. We shouldn't shame people for being those things.
No.
And I
Let
can't lie. I've been a victim of I've been a not a victim. I've been a complete opposite. I've been a perpetrator of this before in the past. Shaming women for having little booties. I've done it in my past before, and we possibly shouldn't be doing that. You know, it's probably my bad. I'm sorry if I ever shamed you for having a little booty. I'm sorry. You know, because it's not good, and I probably made you want to get a BBL. Okay, so I want to tell you my apologies. All right.
The accountability for me,
Yeah.
Stacey. It's the
Okay.
accountability.
Yeah, so I understand in that regards as far as not being able to change that things of those things. But I accept people talking trash about me if they say, "Bro, you getting some man boobs, bro. You need to get your ass in the gym." Or you eating what you eating is not working out for you. You need to get that together. I can accept that. I can accept that. And have you seen that they're coming out with some what I would say men could be able to pay 5,500 to get abs now.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's $5,500 to get some abs and stuff like to get rid of those guts. It's crazy. That's
Hmm,
crazy to me.
interesting.
And I got a video that's touching on that coming out probably later today. But I think it's probably gonna come down to the same thing. Because I guess you know what would have been a good example for you as far as men being shamed for the penis size.
I don't agree with. I don't like that.
You don't like that?
No, no. I don't like how there's a double standard around body shaming men. Like I'm not okay with that at all. He can't help. That's how he developed. So like why are you on Twitter and in your group chats talking about this man like that? That's I don't like that shit. And I don't like when men are body shamed for being shorter either. I don't like that at all. You can have like your preference can be your preference, sis, but you also don't have to be online calling him a Lilliputian. Like it's it's very unnecessary and it's a double standard for sure.
I definitely feel that way. Definitely feel that way. Let's see. Men doing that in Miami, abs and calves. They getting calves too, as regards to getting the abs together.
I've heard of like the height enhancement, so maybe that's the calf thing.
All right. Okay. All right. So an hour and 30 in. Any more plugs as far as your book, your book back there, your book back there, the mirror of you. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, I read a book. It's a guided journal, a self love journal. I'm helping you through things like your negative self talk. How do you talk to yourself throughout the day? So I'm helping you track those things, as well as your social media intake, setting boundaries, all those types of things. So yeah, it takes you through 15 days of tracking your self love journey, and it's available
Okay.
on Amazon now.
Amazon. All right,
Yeah.
bet. And also November 16th, we got your podcast dropping. And that's Hilt with the T.
Heal,
Any other any,
heal with the T.
yes, yes. Any other things you want to drop before we go ahead and head out?
Nah, like this has been a pleasure. It's been a very interesting conversation. I love to hear the perspectives of the other side, if you will. I want to invite y'all over to the side of light. You know what I'm saying? Come on over to the self love community and learn more about yourself and get yourself in a position that feels good for you.
Got you. All right, so I appreciate you so much. Make sure y'all leave a comment on y'all way out. Smash the like button if you haven't done so already. And look forward to some more information coming out soon. A lot more videos. Black Twitter video dropping later today. We're gonna have a little fun. That one is a little long, but it's funny as hell. So y'all be on the lookout for that Black Twitter video to drop. I appreciate y'all so much. All right, we out.